Hello, hello. I hope you can hear me. We are kind of doing this for the first time. uh, and yeah, I guess we'll. At least it looks like people are in here. That's nice. So we'll just do it live, right? So let me hop over and let me introduce, or rather, let me introduce someone to introduce everyone over here. Um, so, Sandro, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, so are we live now, or did it switch?
Not yet,
I
not yet. 1 second.
Okay, 1 second.
I can see this.
I can see it.
Okay, perfect.
I can
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so sorry for the technical issues. It's a first for us. Thank you for waiting. We are Tucana Interactive. So the 4 guys on the bottom here on the screen, as you can see, we made the game. And Dom is our brave community manager who is helping us with gathering the community feedback and also doing stuff like this, developer live stream, which is really cool Q&A. So what's going on? We are currently at Gamescom, as you maybe already know. We have a booth in the arena online where you also can join for free if you want to have a look at all cool indie games and play a lot of demos. So that's definitely a good thing to do this weekend. Other than that, we also released our newest update for the creative mode for the Gamescom, which we already teased a bit. And yeah, we will play a bit in the creative mode today. I will play a bit in the background. You will see the gameplay. And yeah, maybe Timo can tell you a bit more about what's going on in the creative mode. What is the creative mode in Dorfromantik?
Yeah, so hello everybody in the chat. The creative mode is our first major update, the first update of the 0.2 cycle. And it's a new game mode designed for people who just want to relax and build beautiful landscapes without the pressure of beating the high score, or just play without any restrictions. So first thing in the creative mode is that you have unlimited tiles, so you can build however large you want. And you can also delete tiles if you don't like how they fit into your world. So Sandro is currently playing the creative mode, and yeah, as you can see, the UI looks a bit different. There's no tile counter because there are infinite amount of tiles. But other than that, you just place tiles, and what Sandro just did was he deleted a tile. So that's how the basic interaction works. And on top of that, you can actually configure how you want the world to look like by switching on and off different biomes. So biomes are the different color schemes for the landscape. So for example, on the top you can see the red color scheme, which is the fjord biome, and on the bottom it gets greener and it transitions over to another biome. Those are the 4 biomes we have in the game. You can see those on the bottom, and you can just toggle them on and off however you want to. However you want. And yeah, you can also do that for classic mode maps. So after you finish the game, you can transfer it to creative mode, and then you can see how your map would look like in a different biome, for example. What you can also do is you have those sliders at the top, and there you can change how often certain elements appear. So if you want to build a map, for example, without any train tracks, you can just set the train track probability to 0. Or if you want to build only water or only forest, you can all do that as well. So yeah, I think Sandro will just play around a little bit and see what he can create live. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure
yeah,
at all.
Do something beautiful, please.
yeah. So yeah, if you ever have any questions during the stream, you can just ask them. Go ahead, type them in the chat. We will try to answer all the questions you ask us. How glows the day?
The day glows very well. Only mild bouts of rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, here in Western Germany it's very rainy at the moment, so yeah. But the Gamescom's nice so far, so everything's
Yeah,
fine.
the weather is playing along nicely with there not being any
Yeah.
Gamescom this year. No need for
Yeah.
30+ degree weather if there's no Gamescom, you know.
Yeah. Oh,
ROD7 Post said they just bought the game. Thank you! We
Yay.
hope you
Thank you.
enjoy it.
yeah. So I think should you just talk a little bit about how Dorfromantik came to be and what our background is as
Yes,
Tucana?
let's
Yeah,
start
good
with
idea.
with where you guys actually are coming from in terms of, you know, how did you start Dorfromantik? How did that came to be?
Yeah. So the four of us, we know each other from university. We studied together game design in Berlin at the great university called HTW, or University of Applied Sciences. And there we just studied the bachelor and made a bunch of small games there without without pursuing commercial goals with those mostly. And after we finished our studies, we all collected some experiences in the industry. Everybody of us did something different for some time, but we all decided we want to try making an indie game together, which we never done before. So I mean, we haven't worked together as a team of four in this constellation on a game. But we know each other from other projects. Like for example, Sandro and me, we already made a game before, a VR game called Wisp. Also, Sandro and Sui and Luca worked together at the same studio for some time, and we did some other game jams and hackathons, etc. So that's how we know each other. Maybe someone else wants to continue.
Yeah, you're doing good. Maybe you can explain why what we're doing now. So we're still studying.
Yeah.
So maybe.
So
continue,
yeah,
right?
so the idea, like our plan for making a game together was just to try. We gave ourselves a time scope of 1 year, and we wanted to try to finish a game in that time frame. Also, at the same time, a new program started at our university where we all studied our bachelor together, the master's degree for system design in focusing on games. And so we decided to connect those two things and just study the master's while also making our first game. And so that's from the very start, we had this goal in mind. And during the first semester of our studies, we just worked on a bunch of concepts and decided on Dorfromantik for the game we want to make. Yeah.
Yeah, what's maybe interesting to add there is that Dorfromantik was created for the Ludum Dare game jam back in April, or the prototype for Dorfromantik was created there, and yeah, that was really the kickoff for everything. And we immediately got the feedback that player had fun with the core concept, and that's what made us choose this prototype for our big master goal here.
By April, you mean last year, right?
Yeah, sure. 2020, like when we started with the master degree.
So we're coming up right on a 1.5 years of development time. Would that be about correct?
Yeah, I think that's about right. I mean, in the beginning especially, we had some time that we didn't work on the project at all because we had to found our company and apply for funding, etc. So that took some time off. But apart from that, yeah, we started in April. Our first prototype was made at the end of April, and then we really started fully developing, I think, in June 2020. So yeah, it's over a year now, but yeah, since up to our release, it has been a little bit less than a year.
Awesome. So while Sandro is building a very, very beautiful little landscape here, how did you guys settle on the core gameplay for Dorfromantik? Like, what made you go, we want to make a relaxing tile building puzzle game that is just super wholesome?
Yeah, I can answer that. So I think there are always many factors that play into what game you want to make. And I think in this case, it's just also a matter of preference, what kinds of games we like. So all of us like wholesome experiences in a way, and also relaxing experiences. That's what we enjoy, or at least I can speak for myself. That's what I enjoy. So Dorfromantik is just a game I would want to play. And but in the early phase of our project, we actually had a bunch of different prototypes, and not all went into the same direction. I mean, I think I would say all of them were pretty wholesome concepts and just nice atmospheric games. But some of them were more action heavy, some of them were more relaxed or turn-based. So there were just still a bit of different ways we could have taken the project. Yeah, but turns out, or from all the prototypes we made, we just saw the most potential in Dorfromantik, and we all liked the prototype a lot. So that was the one that we wanted to pursue.
What I also felt was like there was like this COVID situation where everybody was a bit like tired of, and lots of people were in home offices and stuff. And for me, it was like I thought people would like to have a game that it's wholesome and more relaxing, and maybe also a game that they can play while sitting in boring Zoom calls or sitting in like some work meetings or stuff. And that's why I thought like Dorfromantik would be a great fit for this kind of period of time.
Yeah, and the general approach for our concept is what we also did for our university projects mostly, is that we really think about the game mechanic first before we settle on the game itself. So what we did was we came up with this tile laying mechanic, or the idea of building a landscape, and then we just went from there and checked out what we could turn this mechanic into and how we could make it challenging and fun. So we came up with the quests, which give you some objective of how you want to build your landscape. And yeah, everything else just grew from there with a lot of design discussions and small and big problems we had to tackle during the development.
Sweet. Now, there is also, I would say, a rumor that kind of doesn't want to die down, and that has got to do with your inspirations. There are a lot of people that compare Dorfromantik to a board game, Carcassonne especially. How did that pan or not pan into your ideas here?
Well, that's a good question. We've been asked that quite a few times already, and we always have the same answer, and that is, that it's more or less coincidence that Dorfromantik's mechanics are similar to Carcassonne. Of course, we played many of the very internationally known board games ourselves when we were kids. But when we created the prototype for Ludum Dare, we actually just thought about how to create a game which you keep alive or keep running by playing well. And so we came towards this idea of placing down tiles or pieces. And we didn't want to use triangles because they have very sharp corners, and we wanted to have something which is a bit more pleasing visually. And then we had the idea to use hexagons. And if you play the old prototype, it's on itch.io, you can see that the game didn't have the mechanic of fitting edges next to each other, but it was more of placing a tile with, for example, a forest next to another tile with a forest. So it was more or less matching tiles to their neighbors and not necessarily focused on the edges. And adding this edge fitting mechanic was something we did later on. And after implementing these mechanics, we got the feedback, oh, it kind of reminds me of Carcassonne. And then we were more or less happy about it because, of course, that's a very cool association to have with our game. So we really don't mind the comparisons. And we would also say that the game has similarities to Tetris, for example, or maybe even Domino, if you know the game. So yeah, we really don't mind it, and we are happy about these comparisons.
Now, maybe one thing to that in addition is, fun fact, in some interesting circumstances, the creator of Carcassonne, which is a German guy as well, we know him through different other persons, and we actually know that he is aware of Dorfromantik and that he didn't play it yet, but he think it's cool. So he think it's a cool thing to have it.
So we've got the official approval.
So it's really cool.
So what you're saying is... Oh, sorry. Please go ahead.
Yeah, what I would say in general is that we usually don't approach our games with the concrete other games in mind. So that's not the way we make games. We don't see another game we like and say we want to make something similar. But instead, I think all of those things that we like are more go to our subconsciousness, and those all, of course, play a role in the ideas we have. But what we do is just we take an idea and try to improve or try to make a game from that idea, and focus on what we can do with one certain mechanic.
Right.
But what we also what we did purposely was we noticed early that the game resembles board games, of course, and we always were careful that this comparison stays, because we like the haptic feeling of board games and we like the idea of digital board games. So that's why we, for example, kept the tile stack. So it's like a physical thing you have in your world with the tiles you draw from there and you place into an actual physical environment.
And
Awesome.
if I might add something else concerning the visual style, many have compared the game to, for example, Settlers of Catan, which many know, of course. But it's quite funny because Luca and I, we mostly try to create a game which has a very approachable art style and very simple shapes. So the idea of reducing houses to these very toy-like houses in a way was how do you say it? Yeah, was mostly motivated by creating something which is simple and easy to read as a player. And we then also looked into impressionist paintings of the countryside throughout Europe, and of course we looked at toys and so on. And this is mostly what created this toy-like art style. And then we try to keep it very haptic in a way. So most of the textures are painted by hand by Luca, and so yeah, this is our approach on how we wanted the game to look. And in the end, we had something which, of course, reminds a little bit of Settlers of Catan, but that's a very cool thing, I guess. Yeah.
Definitely. So, Zvi, you
Yeah.
just meant. Oh, Timo?
There are already some questions in the chat. Should we just answer them?
Sure, go for it.
There's one question: who's the best player in the
Yeah.
team, and what is that highest score? I think in the classic mode, Timo is probably leading right now. I had the high score at I think 33,000 and something, and I guess Timo cracked the score like yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
The thing is that we don't often take the time to really sit down for a long extended session of Dorfromantik. So most of the times we play, like I have, I don't know, hundreds of playtime in Dorfromantik, but most of the times I play, I just test out features and play quickly and don't really take the time to fit the perfect spots for every tile. So it's pretty rare, I would say, that we actually try to beat a high score. But yeah, as it is currently, I think Zvi and I are pretty close with about 33,000 pointers.
I mean,
so,
objection to that, because I'm currently leading for the demo. So if you want to beat my high score, you need to play the demo and have a better. I have something with 4,400 or so, something like this. I had points. So if you did not already play the demo, play it, and if you beat the high score in a day, you can win a Steam key as
Yes,
well.
participate in our contests. Send us your high scores and your creative maps.
yeah.
But something I want to add is this is a stream right now which is live, but we will record this and rebroadcast this on our Steam page. So if you're not here during Gamescom, we will not have the giveaway, so the contest. So just to avoid any confusion.
Yeah, good call, thanks.
Yeah. And another question I can't scroll up in the chat right now. I don't know how it works, but someone asked about the day-night cycle.
Yes.
If it's planned. Maybe Zvi, you want to talk about it?
Do we want to spill any beans here? Is there a spillage about?
I can't say too much about it yet, but we have ideas.
Yeah, I would say we are experimenting with it, and I don't know how it will end up in the end, and in which way something similar will find its way into a game. But we definitely like the idea.
The thing is also that we are aware of that, like, people say that sometimes the screen is very bright, and when you play a long time, it can really like start hurting your eyes because it's like these vibrant colors all the time, and we really want to like give or do something against that, and make it more pleasing for the eye. And we thought that we could maybe achieve that by a day and night circle, but yeah, that's.
Let's say
later.
We are looking into it and also looking into how to solve this on the technical side of things, and we have some approaches, and let's see. But we are thinking about.
It's always a matter of priorities for us. So we have so many plans and so many ideas. So we just always have to decide which ones we want to actually pursue now, or which we want to keep for later. And so we try to not make that many promises, to not disappoint if we decide that one feature is more important now. Yeah,
and also sometimes it's just switches, so maybe some stuff is like higher priority for us, and then we see, oh, this is a cool direction where we could shift the game towards too. And then it changed, and if we already committed and said, we will definitely do this and that, we always see it as a commitment. So if we say we do certain stuff, then we really try to actually do it. Surprise. But to also have, maybe to explain, to have the certain flexibility and to make other decisions and say, okay, now let's focus more on this, or let's try more to do that. This is something that we value very highly, and we also try to keep in balance with obviously communicating and being very transparent what we're doing and what we are planning, but also trying to have this freedom in creating the game, which we all think is really important.
Yeah, and adding to that, there's the question if there will be more land animals or little people for decoration, and that the boats and birds are nice. Thank you for that. We are definitely working on more things. Yeah, there will probably be a few more animals. Let's
Yeah.
put it like this. Yeah.
But people is a different topic. We don't really have plans currently to add people into the game. We like the nature currently in the game, and we like the peaceful animals walking around. So animals probably, yeah, but people probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are also other questions. Someone asked about the art style. I don't know if there's a term for the art style, but it's inspired from painting.
It's
Luca.
like a try to like combine a painterly art style with like a low poly toy like look in some kind of way.
Yeah. The paintings we looked into were impressionist paintings from like a few different countries. British impressionist paintings and German impressionist paintings, and also there's a more of a modern painting style which is called naive Kunst in Germany. It's like simple art, and we looked into very simple paintings of the countryside where everything is quite abstract and reduced to what makes you identify things as, for example, a house or a tree. So the shapes are very simple and very toy-like, and this is what we looked into. So there's no real name for the style we use. It's like a mixture of different directions.
Someone also asked about mountains or animals farms. I would say we don't really plan to do animal farms, more free roaming animals like the deer, for example. And mountains is a thing that we get asked a lot, but it's quite a big technical challenge, and that's why if we will do it, it will be quite some time into the future. So there's a lot of things we want to do before tackling mountains or trying out if we can actually do mountains, because they're just very difficult to make and require a lot of changing the system that we currently have.
Well, I mean, wouldn't they also not just work as a special tile? Like, take the water train station and instead make it a plain-centered piece that just has a big mountain in the middle? Wouldn't that work? Wouldn't that...
That's definitely a possibility, yes. But
I mean,
we have not yet decided how
yeah,
exactly we would do this.
That would lead to like isolated mountains just standing on a single hexagon, and we're not really sure if we like that kind of mountain or that simplification of a mountain, because usually mountains are like really huge and span over huge parts of the landscape. Yeah, so we might try how it looks, and maybe, but the picture we have in mind when thinking about mountains is actually something different.
I think when we would try it, we would go full out and do something like the adapting mechanic, like with the rivers and stuff, that mountains adapt to the tides next to them, and then it's a bit more organic.
And this is exactly what makes the thing complex to implement and to find a solution which works for every combination of neighboring tiles and so on. So this is why we also don't want to promise that we will do it, but it's something we are thinking about. And if we find a solution, then maybe. But for now, let's
No promises.
No promises, exactly. And we're mostly focused on bringing more content and improving the game as it is right now. So yeah. But if there are new big things we add, then you will definitely hear about it. And there are some cool things in the pipeline. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, maybe to give a bit more detail into that is one thing that we always think about is we defined some core principles for us, what we would like to have in the game, and one of them is aesthetics. So it was quite important to us that it should not just be a game that is fun to play, but at the end somehow worlds, even if you play the normal mode, the classic mode, that they always should look somehow still good and like something that maybe could exist somewhere. And maybe for the ones from you that really played our earliest prototypes, so there was a common principle that people just build huge groups, like one huge tree group, one huge house group, and one big field group, which was pretty efficient, but looked pretty not real, I would say, or not that beautiful. So that's why in certain points of the development, we always tweak these things just to give the aesthetics a heads up and to commit to that. So for this whole mountain topic, that would be exactly the case. So we could do small single mountains and stuff like that here. But if we do it, it's really important to us that A, it fits really good in the world, and B, it's also from a aesthetic visual perspective a big bonus and not only a cool feature, to say that. Yeah.
Right. While we're on the topic of that, we also get a lot of suggestions and questions about other kinds of additional kinds of stuff that's on the tiles that's regular, just like the houses and the forest and so on. Things like, say, roads with cars or little cars or something. What's your thought process about that? Would you want to add more complexity in that sense to the game, or are you thinking you're in a happy place with the 6 or so kinds of different tile types I call it that you have currently?
Yeah, so the thing about different group types, as we call them, is that every new group type really changes the balancing of the game completely. So if we, for example, would add roads to the game, then there would just be factor more multiple different possible combinations for every tile, and that would make things a lot more complex, and we would basically have to rebalance everything. That's why we will be very careful if a certain group type is really necessary, or if it adds that much to the game that it's worth the effort. In general, for now, we're focusing more on content in forms of different new tiles. So, like, for example, the tower tile or the windmill. And we're also thinking about how we can make them even more special, but I don't want to talk too much about it. Yeah, but that's more the kind of content that we're thinking about, just more variety in the world without changing the core system fundamentally with a whole new group type.
Okay, so at this point, it's less about maybe adding more complex things and just adding more things that just fit into the different molds, but play out the aesthetics more? Would that be correct?
Yeah, I mean, the question about complexity is a difficult one because there are different types of players, and some really enjoy the simplicity as it is now, but some also just wish for more complexity and more strategic options. And yeah, we will definitely discuss a whole lot of different options we have there. And we always try to please as many players as we can with the decisions we make. So, yeah.
Yes,
Um,
I think I can talk for the player base when I say creative mode did make a lot of people very, very happy.
Yeah, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I mean. That's what was really what the creative mode is all about, to cater to those people, to those players who didn't really get what they wanted from the classic mode. Just relaxing, building nice landscapes, and having a good time with that.
And that's the cool part from being in early access. So due to the fact that we are still in early access, at least this whole year, we gather actually your feedback. We read a lot. We actually read pretty much everything in the forums. We do not have the time and capacity to answer anything, as you maybe see. We tried to improve that already, but that's why we have Dom helping us a lot with that. A lot.
Thank you,
But
Dom.
yeah, thank you very much. But still, this is a super cool opportunity. So if you have an idea or a wish in what direction you would like to see the game, providing feedback, as long as obviously it's
As long as
nicely
it's
written,
constructive.
it's polite and constructive. Yeah, we will take that in. How you say in regard.
Yeah.
Consideration. We will
We-
take that in consideration. We cannot promise everything because, yeah, as already said, we have our own ideas as well. But exactly, especially for the creative mode, we evaluated a lot of feedback to actually understand what do people even think, or what do they want if they hear creative mode. And so this is really something we really do, and we're helpful and really thankful for everybody who is providing us with feedback.
Yeah, if you look at the patch notes we do, you can also see that we usually mark the points that were inspired by the community or straight up suggestions by the community. So whenever we read something that we think, yeah, that fits the game nicely and that fits our schedule as well, then we will definitely try to implement it.
Yeah, and if you make a cool suggestion that I really like, I will go bat for you. Believe me. These four have had a lot of fun with me trying to get them to do stuff.
Sounds like we're not wanting to do anything. Nah, Dom's doing a great job for that.
I'm trying. So in the chat we also had another question come up, two actually, but they're kind of related. The first one is asking about seasons, or they're rather suggesting that seasons would be a cool addition. And then there's a question about weather, like snow or rain, maybe also affecting the tiles. I mean, the latter might be a little bit complicated, but how are you thinking about weather or maybe seasons? Where's the snow?
Yeah, the thing is that as the game currently works, we don't really have seasons, but we have those landscapes that still kind of look like seasons. For example, we have the fjord biome that has these red trees, which looks like autumn, or we have the blossom biome, which is more like a spring type of biome. And yeah, we like this principle of having every season basically taking place in the same world at the same time. So changing the season in general would mean that everything in the whole world would look like a certain season. So I would say we actually prefer the way as it is now, that we have different biomes, and we can imagine adding more biomes that also are inspired from different seasons. But we have a lot more opportunities or possibilities with that approach, instead of just having to do every biome in all 4 seasons, for example.
Yeah, I mean, you can literally do what Sandro is doing at the moment, like just switching through all the possible biomes, and then you have some kind of like your season.
There's your season system.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, and maybe adding to that, there was the question: is there a maximum of tiles that can be placed, or could it technically go on forever? And well, technically, if you have the
Technically
strongest
cannot. Theoretically
PC
it can.
that has unlimited performance, you could play the game limitless. Of course, there's a certain technical limitation at some point when you have placed, I don't know, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 tiles, then there's just so much things to process on screen that like many PCs will probably chug a little bit and slow down. So yeah, but we are of course always working on the performance, and we have had many big performance increasements since the first early access release in March. And now, especially for the creative mode, you can technically play it as long as you want, and we have increased performance a lot so that big worlds run smooth on most PC systems and also on low-end systems. So we hope that you will have a good experience with it, and we are of course still working on improving it furthermore. So let's see. And if you run into some problems, let us know. And it's always interesting to hear on which systems you're playing the game and to get more insight into how well it runs on different platforms. So yeah, technically, if you have unlimited performance and unlimited power, you can play the game without running into any limits. That should work.
Unlimited power.
But just have good nerfs that you can like ignore the heavy lag in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and
so-
another tip, of course, if you are running into performance problems with a very, very big world, then switch off, for example, decoration, or set the VSync to low, then the game is capped to 30 FPS, and tune down some of the graphics options. We have tuned them so that if you go on low settings, the game runs even better. So that's always an option. Yeah.
Right, so Chad is saying just run it on a dedicated server. I mean, if you really want to do that, you need something like a quantum computer, something that really has a lot of firepower, then you can go quite far. But while we're talking about performance and we're still going on about seasons and stuff, so the question of weather came up. I know that we have talked about this internally a bunch already, and you know, I know the reasons why, or maybe why not we might go for that. But if any one of you wants to say a couple words about why we may or may not do weather effects.
Well, I'd say that something simple like snow or rain is something we have thought about, and there's a possibility that we might find a way to implement this. But a complex weather system is something we think is not necessarily that helpful to the game. And as we said before, we want to keep things clean and very simple and easy to read, and don't make the game too big or too noisy also visually. And implementing a big weather system is something that maybe makes things too big and too complex. But yeah, simple effects is something we are always looking into, and there will probably be a few cool additions in the future. Yeah, that's something I can definitely imagine.
We would also have to think about whether we want the weather to be global, basically, or only on a certain part of the map where it fits the theme. Like, for example, a snow effect, if it would snow everywhere or just on a certain spot, and if it's only snowing in a certain spot, how would it actually look like? So there's still a lot to consider and a lot to try out before we will actually implement something like weather.
Awesome. So Chad is asking, let's see here. Kiona is saying, I would like to have more quests where you can earn more points for solving this quest or something like this. So I know that we are looking into, doing some balancing passes in the near future. And we're also looking at new special tiles, obviously, that would come with their own new challenges. And maybe, is there anything in regards to quests that you guys have seen in terms of feedback where you say, yeah, we might want to expand on certain things or make things more interesting?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of great suggestions already, and we also have a lot of ideas on what we could add to the game mechanic-wise. So also regarding different types of quests, for example, or maybe more challenging quests. But yeah, it will be, we still have to take the time to discuss all of them thoroughly and see if they actually help the game feel and if they fit to the feel we have. So yeah, we would love to add more in terms of different mechanics or different quest types, but only if they actually work and don't change the game system too much.
Yeah, and yeah, our focus was like fully on the creative mode until now, and now we publish it, and I think now we can go back to the classic mode and make it a little bit cooler, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe we also have another sleeve or another ace or two up our sleeve for maybe another little feature for creative mode or two. I've heard, in terms of suggestions, people would love to be able to clone tiles or place multiple of their current active tile, especially for like large bodies of water. And I think we might be looking into that. I'm making the half promise here. We might be looking into that, whether people like or not.
Yeah. So you mean in creative mode, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So we definitely have plans to make the creative mode more configurable, so that you have more control about what tiles you actually get. Currently, you have those probability sliders, but we already got the feedback and we noticed that that's maybe not the optimal way to control what kind of landscapes you want to build. So yeah, we will definitely look into how we can improve that.
I mean, it definitely looks like Sandro is having a great old time with the sliders. It's looking pretty.
Yeah, I'm having a good time. Yeah, I'm the creative mode guy.
Yeah.
I thought I would get that title. So Chad is also asking about more biomes again and more seasons. So let me quickly recap. We are definitely interested in adding more biomes in terms of like different visual styles within the game. Like you can see our pretty dark, autumny fjord biome and the the blossom biome that is bright green in the lower sections. Deserts is definitely something we might be able to look into. That would be quite the departure from what we have right now, but I think it could be looking pretty interesting. Mountains, again, it's a little bit harder for that, just on basis of, I guess, art and how to make things look like they're on a mountain. And as for mountain tiles and the new group type, we're looking into the possibility of things, but we are still in early stages for that because developing games is hard. And seasons like winter, we're definitely interested in looking into that. And that will mostly be in the form of new biomes, basically, because that's like the easiest way for us to implement that.
Yeah, when I'm thinking about desert, I always we currently, the way biomes work is they have this one restriction that every type of landscape we have, like forest or fields or village, also need to exist in those other biomes as well. So yeah, I mean, I see quite a bit of challenges there when we are thinking about how deserts look like, because they usually don't have huge forests and huge lakes. So
I mean, there's always savannas, and you know,
yeah,
there are
Yeah, I mean-
oases. So
there are forms that are mixtures, and I think those are probably nice inspirations. And that's also a thing that really motivates us, that we have so many opportunities in which directions we could take the game visually. Like yeah, all kinds of different landscapes. We will just
Yeah, sure.
everything we want, we will decide on. We will need to think about if it fits the scenery as we have it right now, or yeah, how it complements the other biomes basically.
Yeah, the
Awesome.
references for the scenery now were coming from mostly Europe parts. Like we have the lavender fields from the Provence, for example, and the fjord biome is obviously like some Scandinavian, Russian kind of thing. And I think for now we'll stay in this area, but we can imagine like going wider in the world and exploring some more
Yeah.
continents.
Yeah, early in the development, we had some concepts for really exotic
Yeah.
settings as well. And like currently, it doesn't really fit into our game world. But in the future, maybe we'll find ways to make it work, to combine really different types of landscapes as well.
Yeah, and
So-
Christmas season is also coming, so maybe they'll drop something interesting as well.
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Remember, we do not promise anything. This is merely a hint of things that might be coming if you're all being nice and nobody ends up on Santa's naughty list. Jeez, I totally had some related questions, but I lost them. So I think I might throw you guys the ball for a bit longer, and we'll ask you if you could implement any one thing into the game, be it a feature, be it a special tile or anything, what would that be for you guys?
It's a difficult question. I mean, in the end, it all depends on if we do it and if we want to spend the time on the one thing that we really want to see in the game.
If all those things didn't matter, if you could just snip your fingers and implement something, what would that be?
Well,
Chaos.
I don't know. Just cute animals, lots of cute animals, I guess.
Yeah, animals is nice. Also, I think just more biomes are the thing that gives me the most, because every new biome creates such a whole lot of new opportunities and more ways landscapes can blend together. So I'm really looking forward to all the new biomes we will implement at some point, because I think those will add a lot to the game. But also for me personally, I'm less of a creative mode player, more like a classic mode player. So I'm really looking forward to thinking about new mechanics and maybe new quest designs as well. So yeah, I think we will have a meeting really soon regarding that and discuss many different ideas we have.
You heard it here first, folks. Things are happening, TM. So, Zvi, what about you?
yes. What about me? I'm doing the chat right now. Sorry if there was a
Oh,
question.
if you could just snip your fingers and add something to the game, what would that be?
Well, something I think that would be really, really awesome would be wagons for the trains.
Ooh,
maybe?
train wagons.
Hmm.
Sounds
Int?
interesting.
Int? I don't know. Maybe some things that are flying. I don't know.
Dragons.
Dragons. Oh yeah, that's a good
Oh.
idea.
I'll
We
start with
hereby
medieval
promise you
stuff.
dragons.
Oh,
Let
no.
there be dragons. Ooh, Sandro is shaking his head. We're all fired tomorrow, guys. Sorry.
No, but to be real, I also think that having more biomes and more different visual elements would be very cool and make the game a bit more versatile. Is that the right word? I don't know. More diverse, maybe. Then, yeah, I think many people have asked for multiplayer, and we have decided against multiplayer very strongly because, as we said before, we want to keep things simple and of a high quality for us as a small team. And implementing multiplayer, for example, is something we didn't do before and has lots of technical hurdles we would have to tackle first. That is, for example, having a dedicated server running and doing all of the netcode, having like code in it that is working against cheating, copyright issues, blah blah blah. So that's so much technical stuff that we don't want to focus on right now. But if I could snap my fingers, I would love to implement a mode where you can play against someone in, let's say, like a head-to-head game, like what you know from the very old school Tetris, for example. You could play against someone and then it's like a high score head-to-head mode, something like that. That would be very interesting to look into, but it's something which is just not feasible for us. So yeah, this is like a wish I have, but it won't happen. But yeah, that's like an honest answer.
There's always Dorfromantik 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, I mean, but there are other ways, like to have this competitive thing in the game, like by having seeds, by having like two people have the same deck with the same seed and play the same round. Like maybe that's another thing one can do.
I mean, even in the early stage of Dorfromantik, there were like for sometimes there were a bunch of streamers who were battling each other of who can get the highest score. So there was already some competitive elements in the game, and we can definitely look for ways on how we can improve those elements as well.
Yeah, there were even some community tournaments, I remember.
Yeah, right.
Yes, no. we really need to bring those back at some point. Maybe, someday we'll release the game. We might be able to do a couple nice things. Maybe we can get around implementing something like seeds. And then there are a lot of ideas and fun things I would love to do as well with as little as a seed. So another question from the chat, unless Sandro you want to mention something you would love to see in the game?
I'm pretty much down with what the others said. So obviously multiplayer is the thing, but as we already said, it's not happening because of the reason he mentioned. But yeah, that's probably why I would snap my finger for that, because then we didn't have to do it. It's so much work.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes, it's quite a big bit of scope for
But actually, I think it is also a good challenge for us to not get too feature greedy right now, because it always was intended to somehow be a smaller and not too big overloaded game. And yeah, that's obviously still a thing that we would like to follow up. So like kind of bringing both worlds together, all the cool ideas and all the cool stuff we can do, but also keep it still like a little cozy, cool game.
All right. So chat asked, with the amount of suggestions and feedback we get and the amount of things we end up implementing because of feedback that might not have been in the scope at first. Does that have any problems like financially? I mean, we might not want to talk about that too much, but as far as I am aware, even with or especially because of our community interaction in early access, we are actually looking quite good, I think. Like listening to the community and working with the community instead of, around the community or in parallel with the community, that kind of gives us a lot of goodwill, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also, I mean, I don't want to say this too much, but still, I mean, remember, this is our first, we're actually still in university, so this is like the first big thing we do, and we learn a lot, like literally every day, and also like how to talk, what to say, and because at the start we try to do so much and try to please everybody, which surprise pissed maybe other people off then. So we're still learning a lot, and I think for us it's really important that we keep an open mindset, that we just be as transparent as possible, and that we try to actually really evaluate your feedback. And if you have like any suggestions, or if you think, hey, I mean, this game company does X, Y, Z, or you could do more like this, or it would be cooler to have more like that. A lot of stuff that we did the last half year was because of community feedback. And we're also dependent on that. So we really like it, and we also need it.
Yes.
Yeah. I would also say that like early access is like a little journey for us as well, because I mean, at the release or early access release, there was like a whole bunch of feedback and so much stuff, and it was at the beginning a bit hard for us to like canalize all that stuff and collect all the good stuff out of it and filter it and stuff. But now we have you, Dom, which is really helpful for us, and I think everything's going a good way now.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because let's be honest, to be fair, we obviously hope that Dorfromantik will be a
success.
as successful or so many people like it as we do it to play. But in the end, that actually so many people did like to play it, and we got such good feedback, and also really beautiful messages. Like a lot of people messaged us, hey, this game actually helped me a lot through pandemic, and that's at the end what we tried for. We make games because we love to make something that maybe touches other people, or give them a good time, or maybe sparks a new idea, or inspires somebody to something cooler, to do something by himself. So if we can do this for so many people, it's really awesome. But it also was a bit scary at the first, because it was just so much, and we did never thought it would be that cool. I was like that big, so much feedback, and we were also a bit it was a bit too much at the start, as Luca already mentioned. But that's why we tried to then step the game up and get Dom, and in addition to our team. But it was also always really important to us to not just let's say just blindly chase the money now and blow the team up and get a lot of people in and do a lot of features and quick, because the idea behind founding Tucana Interactive actually was to hopefully be a player for the long term in the German game development scene. And so we do not want to grow too big too quick and then explode like a lot of startups do. We hopefully would like to make games in 5 and 10 years still as Tucana Interactive. So maybe this is a bit more insight to how we think, or why we do certain stuff, or why we do certain decisions.
Yeah, and I think all of us just want to continue making games in this kind of scale, and not like blowing up like Sandro said it, like, and getting a lot of people into the boat and doing the next AAA, or like next trying to imitate some Fortnite or what else, or Among Us, don't know. Yeah, just doing these kind of little games and hope to do some more of them would be nice.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys mentioned that especially the release time frame was like you getting bombarded with suggestions, feedback, bug reports, and everything. As someone who at that time was looking from the sidelines, I don't want to say you went awfully quiet after release, but if you followed like what you guys were doing and how you guys were posting and all that, you really got the impression that was quite a good launch. They bit off quite a bit more than they could handle, but
No,
I gotta
that's
say, you guys really managed to slip into that. Like,
no, that's absolutely true. And also, we do not even want to hide it or like make anything. No, we had everything under control and blah blah blah. It's literally that we were really overwhelmed. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
fun fact, actually, the university usually ends also the semester usually in this time, and it was just a lot of stuff. And then it was like April, we just launched the game, and it was like, oh yeah, we're actually still enrolled in university. Maybe we should do some stuff for that, like the last 2 weeks. And it was just a bit too much for guys to handle, to be honest.
Yeah, what we
Yeah,
also like, we haven't really launched, or we haven't launched such a game before, like a game where there's so much community input after the release. So we didn't really expect how it would turn out, or we didn't really know what was coming to us. So after release, directly after release, we basically all 4 of us went into full-time community management. That's why it seemed at first that we're super involved with the community. I mean, we were at that point, but after some time we noticed, well, if we keep doing that, then we can just not work on the game anymore. And that's the decision we made at a certain point, that we can't keep on doing community management full time. We have to keep on developing it as well. So yeah, that's what happened. And yeah, we're super glad that now that we have Dom on board, we can actually try to handle both. So we have community interactions, but we can also work on the game and implement more features, etc.
awesome.
Yeah, just wanted to add something.
Yes, please.
Quick. When you make games for a few years, and that's what we did during our studies, it's very detached from the real market in a way, you know. So you create cool little prototypes and you show them to people and so on. But really, releasing something and then having such a focused moment of general activity and feedback and so on is something which we really didn't anticipate at all. So of course we thought that there would be lots of feedback and lots of I'm looking for the English word for Aufmerksamkeit. Can somebody help me?
Attention.
Yeah, attention. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, and then of course we kind of hope that we would have a good launch and have lots of attention for our game and so on. But to really anticipate the exact amount and that all 4 of us would have had to be there full time to answer questions, be in TV shows or in interviews and so on, that's something that of course now we can anticipate a little bit better. But in general, you have to also keep in mind that you cannot really plan with a game having a successful launch. It's something which is really hard to achieve. And we worked a lot for it, but there's always the risk of launching a game and really not getting on the boat in a way, and nobody knows about your game, and then you kind of exist in the shadow of other releases. So that's it was a huge learning experience for us, and yeah, so that's kind of something I wanted to add.
Yeah.
Maybe one last thing to that point. Sorry, but one last thing. I mean, obviously, as you can see, it's a really important topic to us. Like one of the really big challenges for us as a team is to actually, if you make your own game, it's like you have a baby. So you really care a lot. You put like so much energy and love into the whole project, and it's really, really, really difficult to sometimes let it go or be like, yeah, okay, now I'm done with work today, or no, I just will not like sit 2 hours more here and answer more stuff, even due to the fact that we already did that. So it's one of the things that we really, really try to do also with founding Tucana and then developing Dorfromantik is have a sustainable and environment where we can make games long term. Because as Timo in the start already mentioned, we did games before, we also released them, and we work 10, 12, 14 hours sometimes a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week, and we thought, yeah, it's cool, it's our game, and we work all the time. And at the end we realized, yeah, okay, it's maybe cool, but maybe also not, because you actually cannot do that for a long term for real, or without getting obviously like burnout or other stuff. So that is also a challenge every day for us, like to keep ourselves in these boundaries, and like even if we want to make more and work more or do more or yeah, another hour or stuff like that, to really keep an eye on that. And maybe that sounds a bit like, okay, what? But if I don't know, if you do maybe your own thing and you really love what you do, then that's actually one of the biggest challenges that you really have to be careful of and have to take care of. And that's something we learned from the last projects, and it's really important to us to have it in our mind now.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does, I think. It's just you guys now are in a phase of your career where the rose-tinted glasses come off. You're not like hobbyist developers anymore who want to spend all the time to make the next great, grand, who knows what kind of game. But you're starting to see, okay, so I could work more than 8 hours on this today. I could work 12, 14 hours on this, fix that one bug, or maybe 2 more bugs, and then you guys just are now in the phase where you know and kind of get to just like jeez, now Sandro kind of tricked me because he opened my start menu.
Yes, I was confused.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. But yeah, you're now in the phase where you kind of seeing the whole work-life balance thing, and you just see and get to know the fact that I could work on this 7 days a week for 14 hours, but it just doesn't make sense if I do this for a month and then I'm out for a month. It's just not sustainable. And I think that is also like a real good lesson for people who are in the audience who might be thinking about getting into game dev. Like, look after yourselves. Set yourself those boundaries.
Yeah, and I mean, ask yourself, do you want to make this professionally? Or as you said, yeah, it's just a hobby, and then it's no problem. I mean, that's how Game Jam works. Just do it. Go on a Game Jam, code the whole weekend and do cool stuff, make a game. That's super nice. But
Yeah,
if you really
pull a few all-nighters too.
Yeah,
while you're at
yes.
it.
well, why? Seriously, why not?
Yeah.
It's cool. But if you then really decide this should be my career, you should really have that mindset of approaching it professionally, and also being able, like, to do it in the long term. Also, if this feels weird, you always can think of the others. So if you fall out, or if you gone then because you really are stressed out, then it's bad again for the team and the project overall. So yeah, but maybe it's a really bubble theme. Maybe that's really important to
Yeah,
us, and
very
maybe
developer based.
the other people are not really. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
are there any open other questions? For example, should I start a new world, or are we steering towards the end?
I
'Cause
think
I
we're
think-
actually kind of steering towards the end. We have been on
Yeah.
for almost 90 minutes now. We're hitting the 80-minute mark. So if there are any more questions, maybe a couple smaller ones, perceived smaller ones, that is, you might want to get them out now. Because
Yeah, feel free.
Yeah, don't be shy.
Otherwise,
yes,
yeah, and
we
otherwise, as you know, post them in the community hub. As I said, we really read them. Or
Yes.
join our Discord. We are actually there. It's us and not like other people or PR guys or something for us. So you can talk to the community. You can talk to us there. Don't expect us to answer super fast all the time because, as we said, we're doing everything by ourselves. But we're here and we have ears and we love to use them, and eyes to read. We also have.
also
There's
we're
a
on
good-
Twitter.
Yeah. There's a good question from Derzo. What are the next major features you're working on? So we're still on the 0.2 release cycle for now. So what our plans are for that one is to keep improving the creative mode for one, and then also tackle the balancing as well. So those are, I think, two of the major topics that are the next on our agenda. And
Yeah.
no, I don't want to say anymore.
Now, I just wanted to mention the roadmap we just released on our website and on Steam in the community hub. And there you can also like have a look what's on our agenda in the next in the next few months and towards the full release.
Which was, by the way, a big community question. Hey, can we have a roadmap? Can we have a roadmap? Can we have a roadmap? Yeah, makes sense.
Yes.
So here it is.
I bombarded them with that request until they relented. I had to force them to their happiness. And now they are happier for it.
Yeah, you don't see the guns pointing at us now. I'm not you're happy or not, you're happy.
Yes, yes. The guns shall be returning soon. But yeah, I think in terms of maybe giving a little bit of an outlook beyond 0.2, for fall, you guys will be relatively busy actually with a couple master's theses. So we said that over the fall we want to keep things a little bit less heavy in terms of features. Like, we don't want to throw in another new mode, if ever. Who knows? Maybe. It might be on the roadmap somewhere. But I think after we finish up with the creative mode and maybe get a first pass for balancing done, we were planning on shifting to creating more content, wasn't that the case? So, if maybe Zvi and Luca want to talk a little bit about what they have planned on doing, what might we expect? I would assume maybe a new biome or two, maybe a couple new special tiles.
Luca, do you want to start?
Yeah, I don't know what we already said. Like
we
not
said
internally
nothing.
yet. All right, that's good. Actually, yeah, I mean biomes is a good keyword. There would be definitely coming one or two in autumn and winter, and I mean we also spoke about animals. I think there will be coming a few. Some are already done, but yeah, they need a little bit of polish, and yeah, some nice buildings will also be on the way. So we would have anything
Yes,
to add?
that's correct. Then we are also looking into making things white. I don't know what that could mean. Yeah, and we will have more special tiles coming to the game and more also unique special tiles probably, which might bring some cool new ways of playing the game or make the game a little bit more diverse. So there will be special tiles with new small mechanic additions to the game. So there's cool stuff on the horizon, definitely.
At
There
least
was
where
just now the question if there's a multiplayer mode planned. No, as we have said lots of times already, Dorfromantik will stay a single player game. There won't be a multiplayer mode.
But if you really wanted to play something multiplayer-esque, the stuff you can see happening on screen right now, everything is running via my computer, my setup, and Sandro is actually playing. We are using a service called Parsec, which is similar to Steam's Play Remote Together or Remote Play Together. I never can remember how exactly they name that stuff. So there's definitely ways to make it feel like multiplayer if you really wanted to. Then
And
that's...
Luca, you wanted to say something
Yes,
too, I think?
I think he did. You're muted,
You're
sir.
muted.
sorry. No, just forget it.
All right.
One
So-
thing, there was the question if there are plans for a board game, Dorfromantik.
Yes, that was what I was just about to mention.
I would say
We
only
can
Santa
neither
knows.
confirm nor deny anything.
Yeah, let's keep it at only Santa knows. That's a good answer.
At least nobody asked about a Switch port.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
I mean, I guess nobody is interested in playing this on Switch. Fine.
Yeah. Well then
That's good
I
to
guess
know.
we can
And
just
that's an easy decision for us.
Solves a lot of problems.
okay.
now
Yeah,
Q-
Switchboard is off the list then.
Yes.
Let's just cross it from the list.
Yes, cue angry forum posts in 3, 2, 1. When Switch
No,
mode.
I mean,
There
to
we go.
address it. Yeah, but to address it for real, like we get a lot of questions for mobile and the Switch as well. And as we said a few times before, maybe more clear or less clear, we really would love to do both. We really have ideas. We have a lot of ideas for both, and we probably will first look at the Switch, just because it's more closer to what we do. But yeah.
And the way we develop the game currently is also like we're always staying in one project. So everything we work on for the PC version, like for example, the performance improvements are also things we would need to do for other platforms as well. So we try to just use the time we have the most efficiently by basically preparing different platforms while also improving the PC version. Yeah.
All right, so I think we're about done. Is there anything you guys would like to let the community know?
Yes, there's something which is like it's interesting for those who didn't get a key here in the chat. For example, you can check out our Twitter, you can go to the Steam Community Hub, or you can join our Discord, and we are running giveaways now and then. Right now, as the stream is recorded at the Gamescom 2021. We have a giveaway running right now, so you can play the current Dorfromantik demo, and you can take part in the contest by posting a screenshot of your high score or posting your creative build you did in the demo while the Gamescom is active. So head over to our Twitter, Steam Community Hub, or Discord and take part in the contest. if you're watching this stream on YouTube as a rebroadcast or here on Steam after Gamescom 2021 is over, then this won't be an active giveaway anymore, but there might be different ones and new ones. So definitely join us on our different social media platforms, because we're hosting giveaways
Every now
more
and then.
often than not, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah, and I also would like to say, I think I can speak for the whole group because, trust me, believe me or not, I know these guys a bit. So we're all really, really, really thankful for all the support and all the help we also get from a lot of people that just help us, just because they like what we do or like the game or they like helping other people. And we're really thankful. We know we probably cannot even thank everybody in person. There are so many people in the community. I recognized already a few names in the chat before. We have people helping us with the translation, with just keep the community somehow in shape, like answer questions that other players have, or do other stuff, like even writing a review on Steam is actually helping developers, even smaller ones like us, a lot. Or telling another friend who you think it's a cool game that you might enjoy, he or she might enjoy. So it's a lot of help that we receive, and we're really grateful and really thankful. And yeah, I think this is a good opportunity to say thank you to all these people that are helping us, because of course we made the game, but it's so much more that is behind that. Yeah.
True.
Thanks.
Yeah, we want to thank the whole community being also so active on our Discord and helping each other. Sometimes we don't even have to answer on questions because everybody in the community is so active and answers the questions and helps others out. Sometimes people join the Discord and ask, oh, how can I do a perfect placement? Or how does this and this work in the game? And there's always someone helpful around. So that's really, really cool. Yeah, I lost my train of thought there. Sorry.
That's all right. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot,
something
guys.
else I wanted
You
to
are
say.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You are very, very awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much. And as always, keep the feedback going. We can never promise to do it all, but we always can promise to give our very best. And yeah, thank you for the patience with us, and because we're sometimes a bit slower or yeah, have so much to do. But yeah, thank you very much for all the support.
And one other thing, there was the question, how is the prize money from the DCP, Deutscher Computerspielepreis? That's like the big German games award. How does that help us to continue with our plans? And of course, it helps us a lot. It's really cool that we can live and work on what we want, like on what we love, and eat. so definitely getting some money helps us to continue making a really cool game for you and
Continue eating
and continue making it. So
and continue
it's-
existing.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Thank
that's
you.
that's always awesome. And if you want to help us out, and for example, if you already got the game, then helping us you can help us by writing a review for the game. If you like the game and you're leaving a positive review, that's one of the best things you can do, because it helps others when they are not sure if they like the game or if they should buy it. They can read the reviews, and if they read a really cool review, then of course it always helps to identify if the game is for them. So yeah, that's always a great way to help, and of course spread the word. Yeah.
Awesome. Anybody else want to say something?
No, I think
we're good. Yeah.
yeah. It's all
Good,
set.
then
Although
Sad.
let me have a little word. So,
oh
it's
boy.
been almost
Sorry.
3 months since I came on board. And in those
Wow.
3 months, which is already seeming like an eternity. Like I've seen you guys from way before release. I remember getting my key, I think it was during Steam's winter sale, or so around New Year's.
Yeah, you actually won one, right? On the
yes,
giveaway.
I won one for some reason, and I just never stopped playing. And just seeing you evolve from back then to the release to where you are now, it's been a hell of a journey, and I personally can't wait to see where the journey leads us. And yeah, obviously, thank you guys for bringing me along on this really, really awesome ride. It's been a hell of a lot of fun, and I want to keep it that way.
Yeah, we always can give that back, and obviously you have to point 50% of your thank you to the community. So there.
Right. I wasn't done yet. That was the next bit I wanted to say. I want to thank the awesome community. You guys are making my job easier a lot of the time. Sometimes you're making it a bit harder, but that comes with the job. And I just hope we can have a lot more fun. Like, with the creative mode update out now, we do plan on having, like, weekly showcases for you guys with themes and all that. We're still planning out a little bit in terms of what kinds of themes we can do currently. But, just keep that in mind and wait for us to bring you some more news, hopefully sometime in September for that. And yes, definitely continue thinking in Bestagons. Thank you guys for having come out, for asking questions, for being interested in what we do, what the game is all about, and what the game is to us even. And we really hope that you guys will continue this journey with us and see it to its completion, whether that's release or maybe sometime post-release. Who knows? We certainly don't. But, you know, as it so often is, it's all up in the stars, and yeah. Enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend, go play the demo, go check out all the great demos on the Indie Arena booth and the Gamescom. Wishlist everything that looks remotely cool. It really helps everyone. And believe me when I say, even a single wishlist can make a dev's day.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and for the future, if you like games, spread the word, write positive reviews, wishlist. That's the best help. I know. I always have to repeat it.
We're all brainwashed.
Yeah, those were like great last words from Dom, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and with that, I think we'll end it here, guys. Thank you for coming out.
Great. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah,
Yes.
Enjoy.
Let us know if you enjoyed this, so I can force them to do this more often. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Thank you all.